How many snaps did they run in the 14 personnel?
That's only for us.
100% of the snaps.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to 14P Fantasy. Today, we are talking breakout or bust, part two.
Part two.
Obviously, if you're watching us, me and Marco, we are tag team in this episode. A rare, dynamic duo video, if you will. Maybe not dynamic, but technically a duo. So before we get into the three names we have here, guys, and again, this is all for Dynasty right now, obviously. Before we get into it, if you like the channel, if you like what we're doing, me and Marco are putting out, Preston as well, subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you got questions, comments, other players you guys want to see for these breakout bust series or even buy sell, drop them in the comments below. We'll make sure we start getting to them as we kind of ramp up production, ramp up videos here heading to the NFL draft. Also, the Patreon page. If you guys are looking for rookie rankings, dynasty rankings, personalized videos, breaking down your dynasty teams, check out the 14 personnel Patreon. The link is down in the bio. I think it's patreon.com/14P fantasy. Right, Marco? Is that correct? I think you're muted, so that's good.
Sounds right to me.
Yeah, we're just going to leave that. We're not going to clip it or cut it.
I
all right. Well, let's get into it. Number one on the list. This is probably a popular one to talk about. It is Trey Lance. So the lay of the land for Trey Lance right now, obviously Jimmy Garoppolo is still in San Francisco. Here's the thing. He's not going to be there when the season starts. If there's anybody in your league that believes Jimmy G sticking around is bad for Trey Lance long-term, go, first of all, take advantage of them. Whether you believe Lance breaks out or busts, it doesn't matter. But moving into 2022, Marco, are you kind of pegging him as one of these hot breakout candidates that everybody's on, or are you kind of going the other way?
Well, let's clarify just for people watching. What for Trey Lance right now in a super flex league one QB too. What would you qualify as a bust for Trey Lance?
He needs to be.
Doesn't mean he's terrible,
right? He needs to be a top 10 quarterback based on his price and the hype surrounding him. Has to be top 10.
Okay. With those rules, I don't have him as a top 10 guaranteed quarterback. So I've got him as technically a bust. But I mean, I can probably list off easily 12. If I really wanted to stretch, I could probably get him to like 14. But I don't have him at 14. But here's the thing. I think Trey Lance will be a good quarterback in the NFL. I genuinely do. I think what we've seen so far hasn't been tremendous. It's been okay. It's been good. And I also think I don't care what the strategy or what the plan was. If Jimmy Garoppolo at any point is ahead of you after week 4 in the season,
he took him into the playoffs. He took him far into the playoffs.
But Jimmy Garoppolo is objectively bad.
But here's the thing. It's the same argument with Alex Smith a couple years back with Mahomes. And I'm not saying Lance is Mahomes, but that same kind of path. Alex Smith took him to the playoffs, but everybody in the world knew Alex Smith was not a very good quarterback. So I
think Mahomes got hurt, didn't he?
No, they just didn't play him. And then he played.
That's right. I'm thinking it. Yeah.
But so here's why I'm on the other side of this. I think he is easily going to be a top 10 quarterback, and it's
the rushing floor.
It takes one stat. So he started 2 games and played 50% of the snaps in another. If you, again, in very small sample size, but if you put those games over a 17-game pace, 1,094 rushing yards. That alone, I don't care what he does as a quarterback. That alone puts him into the top 10. It's the Jalen Hurts. It's the Jalen Hurts paradox. It's
right. Well, so for you, Justin, you have him as a breakout. So where do you have him just as a top 10 quarterback essentially?
I think he'll be inside the top 8. And again, I haven't finished rankings for 2022. And obviously, if I'm projecting him to have a great season in 2022, he's high in my dynasty ranks. But again, we did a video, I think, on him a while back where I was saying, pump the brakes on Trey Lance. And I've kind of flipped after you kind of dig into the numbers there. I think there's too much kind of in his, in his direction that pushes him into that top 10 pretty easily.
Okay. So I'm just going to list off some names that are in the top 10 right now.
Oh, yeah.
And obviously some of them are easy, but I want to see where your line is. Okay, so Josh Allen, yes.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes, yes. Justin Herbert, yes. Lamar Jackson, yes. Kyler Murray,
yeah.
Let's not talk about all the ancillary things here. He's probably going to get suspended, but if he doesn't, Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, Watson, if he plays, yes. So full 17.
Jalen Hurts.
I'll take Lance over Hurts.
Okay. Dak Prescott.
I'll take Dak.
Joe Burrow.
I'll take Lance over Burrow.
Russell Wilson.
Lance over Wilson.
Aaron Rodgers and Justin Fields.
Lance over both. I flipped on Lance and Fields. I flipped on Lance and Fields. Before I used to have Fields ahead. I moved Lance ahead of Fields at this point.
Yeah, no, totally. Okay, so I think that's kind of where we have a few guys that are off. Yeah. I think Russell Wilson and Fields I would put ahead of Lance.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Like I get it.
But yeah, and again, me saying he's a bust, I think I see a lot of options for him to be not top 10. He could do it, but I don't think it's hyper likely when I'm looking at the quarterbacks that I like. But I get it.
All right, moving on to number 2. We have Gabriel Davis, who we probably should have done a video on Gabe Davis weeks ago, months ago, maybe.
Maybe like right after the playoffs.
Yeah, like prompt timing. But okay, so I'm going to lay it out just like I did for Lance. I'm going to lay out the lay of the land for Gabriel Davis. He comes in as a 4th-round rookie. He puts up a 10% target share because John Brown is there. That is the guy keeping him from having a great rookie season, right? He flashed. That was fantastic. Over 500 yards. That's also a good number you want to hit as a rookie.
Yep.
Going into year 2, it is the Gabe Davis show until they sign a 34-year-old Emmanuel Sanders. Emmanuel Sanders, if you were on Twitter at all, he'll discard Emmanuel Sanders quickly. It's not going to matter. Blah, 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 right? Fast forward to the end of 2022. He has less yards, fewer receptions on basically the same amount of targets. His target share does not budge at all, and he does not discard Emmanuel Sanders until Emmanuel Sanders gets hurt.
Right.
After he gets hurt, Gabe Davis is a 2-touchdown game, and then obviously a 4-touchdown game in the playoffs in what was the most chaotic game of all time.
Yep.
If Emmanuel Sanders, a 34-year-old Emmanuel Sanders, is the reason you're not breaking out, you're probably a very average wide receiver. And I already know the comments. Well, you didn't accidentally score 4 touchdowns. Yeah, you're right. He didn't accidentally. Good job, Gabe Davis. That was a good game. It's not going to happen. They're going to bring in a receiver in the 1st or 2nd round this draft. And I don't care that Emmanuel Sanders went out and said Gabe Davis is going to be a superstar, because he said the same thing last season when he left the Saints about Marquez Callaway. Stop. Gabe Davis is not the next guy that magically breaks out in year 3 after doing nothing for 2 seasons. He's not Devontae Adams. Do not give me that comp.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's insane. He's not going to be a wide receiver 2. He'll have some wide receiver 3 weeks, but I can't say that he's going to be there anywhere near consistently. Especially like you said, if they add a wide receiver, which they should and they will.
Yep.
He's gonna be in that place where, like, yeah, he might win some weeks, but he's not like win against whoever they draft some weeks. But they also added Jamison Crowder, which is also not that exciting, but it's not that different from Emmanuel Sanders.
It's just, I know what the comments look like because I did this tweet. I did a tweet on Twitter. That's a stupid
You did sentence. A tweet.
I put something on Twitter and it was the same thing. It was like, oh yeah, well, there's nobody there. Yeah, the draft hasn't happened. Right now, using depth charts as your reason for somebody breaking out before you have an enormous piece of the puzzle is not usually a good way to make like smart moves. Like, yeah, he's there because they haven't gone and made their first 3 picks in the draft. So I just can't do it. The price, I am selling him. He's been going for 1st round picks, late firsts. If you can do that right now, I am doing that 10 times out of 10. Even early seconds, I don't care.
Here's the thing. The only way that a true Gabe Davis breakout is even possible is if the Bills don't touch wide receiver till like round 5.
Yes. I'll say 4, day 3. If they punch till day 3, I will change my tune. But
and I'll say maybe, because here's the thing. I think he just is a really fun, exciting player to watch, to talk about, because he's got really nice skills, a skill set, but the NFL hasn't shown us that they believe in him. And he's not on a team that's like 4 or 5 wide receivers deep, like of true elite wide receiver talent. So he should have broken out, like you said. So
okay, here's last piece. I know this is gonna be a long video. Whatever.
Whatever.
Currently an underdog. So if you're just looking at 2022 ADP right now, Gabe Davis is going ahead of Brandon Cooks, Adam Thielen, and is going 2 picks behind Darnell Mooney. No. Stop doing that. Just stop it.
Yeah, no, I mean,
too much risk.
Right. Yeah. There's way too much risk. And all of those guys, at least this year, probably the next 2 to 3 years, are going to probably be better than Gabe.
Not for Thielen, not 3 years, but I hear what you're saying.
Thielen, I'm perpetually low on, so I'm just throwing him a bone right now. But
yeah, that's fair. All right. Moving on to our last one here. And I will give this one to you, Marco. It is Darnell Mooney. Again, full disclosure. We are Bears fans.
Yep, we're
Is
Bears
there
fans.
A little bit of bias in here? Probably, but I don't care. Marco, Darnell Mooney, breakout or bust.
Even if you take any sort of bias out of this, Darnell Mooney, he was end of season PPR wide receiver 23. I don't know what he was in points per game, Justin, if you want to look that up while I'm talking.
Much lower.
Yeah, I mean, he was much lower, but if you want to figure that out while I'm talking, I have Darnell Mooney finishing as a top 20 wide receiver this year. I think he's a lock for a wide receiver too. And here's some things. The offensive line is basically static. You know, nothing right now has gotten better for that offensive line, which is definitely a knock. But they'll probably add a pass catcher. That's going to help Darnell Mooney, I think, in the sense of he wasn't the guy who needs to be the number 1 wide receiver. Genuinely, he doesn't need to be that for the team. The other thing is they're going to have a worse defense this year. Their secondary, outside of Jalen Johnson and Eddie Jackson, who hasn't performed up to par, is a train wreck. So they're going to be throwing the ball a ton. This new regime looks like they are actually game planning for Justin Fields, which is something Matt Nagy never wanted to do. So I think they're going to have to throw the ball a lot as much as they want to run the ball. I think, second half of games, they're going to be throwing more than people are expecting. And I think Darnell Mooney is going to be the beneficiary of that. In PPR leagues, I think he gets a nice bump. Non-PPR, he might end up as, a top 30 wide receiver. But in PPR leagues, I have him as a top 20 guy because of that. He's going to dominate second halves, and he's going to be a garbage time king, I think, for the Chicago Bears.
Yep. So, he's wide receiver 32 in points per game, just ahead of Terry McLaurin and Elijah Moore. So just behind Amari Cooper. Fine company. What makes him so interesting is he very quietly was one of the most used wide receivers in the NFL. 11th in target share, 14th in air yard share, 17th in routes run, and then 15th in deep targets. So he's getting high value targets and he's getting a lot of them. And to me, that is what I want to see for a wide receiver that's right now being drafted as wide receiver 32 with a ton of upside. And that ADP is for best ball again. Breakout bust. This is a mix of It's weird. It's a mix of redraft and dynasty, but I think Mooney's slated to, I don't know if he gets to the top 20, but I think he's slated to be a wide receiver 2 this year.
Sorry, you froze for a second for me, but no, but yeah, I agree. I think, again, in PPR leagues, he's going to be a guy who sticks around for a while, contributes to your team consistently in a new regime that has been not afraid to offload anyone and everyone. Ryan Poles has specifically mentioned Darnell Mooney a number of times, so I think
there's no one else. So I mean, there's literally no one else for him to mention. In all fairness, he's got to talk about one wide receiver.
He hasn't committed to a lot of players on this team out loud, vocally in press conferences. Darnell Mooney is one that he definitely has, and he's done it every single time he's been in a press conference. And I think that's important.
I am with you. All right, one question for you because I know we differ on this. Darnell Mooney or Michael Pittman?
So I have them back to back. I have Darnell Mooney just above. I think the Colts are just going to run a lot more. So,
I'm taking Pittman there. So if you guys are trying to gauge value, this doesn't help at all because we're split. So it doesn't help a little bit. You're welcome. All right, guys. Again, if you have questions, comments, other players you want to see us break down, drop them down in the comments. If you like what we're doing, like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. And then the Patreon. Check out the Patreon page. As we get through the draft, we have updated dynasty ranks coming in here soon. We'll have updated rookie rankings, post-draft, redraft rankings, all kinds of stuff going on over there. Check that out at the Patreon. The link is in the bio.
Yep.
As always, guys, thank you for watching, and we will see you next time.
Peace.
How many snaps did they run in the 14 personnel?
That's only for us.
100% of the snaps.